I work the night shift at a small motel off Interstate 84 in eastern Oregon. It's quiet, remote, and most nights, nothing happens. But last October, something checked in that didn't belong. I've been working at the Sunset Pines Inn for almost 5 years. It's a roadside motel with 22 rooms, mostly for truckers, late-night travelers, and the occasional sketchy guest trying not to be noticed. I don't ask questions. I just check people in, log the transactions, and keep the coffee hot. My shift starts at 10 p.m. and ends at 6 am. The place is so dead at night that I usually just sit behind the counter reading or watching the security cameras. But on October 18th, I had a guest check in at exactly 12:01, a man in his late 40s. Gaunt face, pale skin, eyes so dark it was like they soaked up the light. He didn't say much. Just handed me a card, signed the paper without looking up, and asked for a room with no windows. That should then a red flag. None of our rooms are windowless, but room 6 has heavy blackout curtains and looks out at a cement wall. I gave it to him. He didn't bring luggage, no car, just walked down the hallway, slow, almost floating. I watched him on the security monitor. He didn't turn on the light in the room. He just stood there, in the doorway, for 7 minutes, motionless. I should have called someone. I should have done something. But I told myself maybe he's tired, maybe he's high, who knows. Around 3:00 a.m., I started hearing scratching. At first, I thought it was rats. This place gets mice sometimes, but this wasn't skittering. It was long, deliberate dragging, like fingernails against drywall. It came from the hallway where room 6 is. I checked the cameras. Room 6's hallway feed was static. The only camera out. I flipped through the rest. Everything else was fine. Then I saw it. The front desk camera, the one pointing at me, suddenly glitched and showed room 6's door, slightly open, with something crouched behind it. Just a shadow shaped like a person, bent low like it was listening. I turned around fast. No one was behind me. I blinked. Looked back at the monitor. It was gone. I locked the front desk office door. At 5:45 a.m., a trucker came in for coffee. I gave it to him free, just because I was rattled and wanted company. As the sun started to rise, I watched the feed from room 6. Still nothing. I assumed the guy left while I was in the back. But here's the thing. He never checked out. When housekeeping went to clean the room at noon, they found the door locked from the inside. But no one was in there. No signs of entry or exit. The blackout curtains were still drawn. The sheets were still tucked. Only one thing was off. On the bathroom mirror, written in the condensation from the shower, though no one had used it, were the words, "I never left." We pulled the logs. No other keys were issued. The card on file, invalid. No name, no ID. And when we pulled the external camera footage for the night before, nobody walked in at 12:01 a.m. The doors never opened. Room 6 has been locked ever since. Management said it was for renovations. That was 6 months ago. But I still work here. And every night at exactly 3:00 a.m., the room 6 camera goes to static, even though it's been off limits all this time. Last night, I left a cup of coffee outside the door. Just to see. This morning, it was gone. And on the lid, a fingerprint, pressed from the inside. Okay, so a few thoughts. First of all, the fact that nobody can get into that room except the one employee who checks in the guest is pretty weird. And then the fact that the employee can't remember if he checked the guest in is also weird. Like the whole idea of a story like this is to set up the possibility that our protagonist could have accidentally let a serial killer into the hotel. But I feel like the story would have handled it better if the protagonist did remember checking this guy in, because then it would have established more strongly the idea that this is a normal dude. It's just that he's kind of tired and maybe high, as he says. And by making him forget that he checked the guy in, it sort of makes it seem like it was an entirely different person, which I think works against the story because this guy's behavior seems way crazier if it is our protagonist. If he remembers checking him in, Then he shouldn't have let the guy stay because clearly he's super paranoid and may be dangerous. But if he didn't let the guy stay and the guy still ended up in the room, then that means that our protagonist accidentally let some very dangerous person into the hotel. And also it's possible that whoever this guy is, he might actually be able to teleport or something. So yeah, that's my one big issue with the story, is I feel like they missed a chance to make the protagonist seem more responsible by having him forget that he checked this guy in. Now as for why the security guard is still working there after all this, well, that's easy. He's on drugs. This isn't the first time a story like this has happened. In another episode that I did about a hotel security guard, the main character forgot about a really important incident from the night before because he was high. And look, I'm not judging. I love doing drugs. They're great. But you gotta remember, you are responsible for the safety of everyone around you. And I know that might seem impossible when you're a security guard working at a dingy old hotel. But hey, do your best. And now it's time for your question. I want to hear from you. Would you continue working at that hotel? Let me know in a comment down below. Also, be sure to subscribe and come back on Wednesday for another terrifying tale.